Good morning. Good morning. Are you serious? This right here would require 4 consecutive. Are you serious? Are you serious? Are they actually serious? What? Wait, just wait, okay? Just wait. I had to drink some coffee out of my Are You Serious coffee cups today. What I'm getting ready to share with you folks, I'm taking almost a minute to just say it. The National Cathedral. Remember the National Cathedral during the earthquake that hit Washington, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. area, and even they felt it in New York. Just a few days before Hurricane Irene came ashore. The earthquake that rattled Virginia and Washington, it did several things symbolic to send a sign to America that God is angry over this United Nations vote. But it's more than just that. I'm going to say it's also because of the 60 million babies aborted in America since 1973. I think it's going to be because we've removed the creation and the biblical teachings from our schools and moved into a secular, humanistic, atheistic type belief. But I'll take it another step further. Then when the President of the United States, and I'm praying for President Barack Obama, but when he gave that speech on May the 19th that we should go back to the 1967 borders with Israel, that brought about a wave, a reverberation, I think, in heaven that we're finally feeling down here on earth because the earthquake hit. And when the earthquake hit, here's what happened. The Washington Monument tipped, cracking it. They had to shut it down. It's still closed. Pictures of artwork of senators on the Capitol walls were rattled off and fell into the floor. Water pipelines in the basements and the bowels of the Pentagon burst asunder and water flowed throughout the basement area. And 3 stone crosses on the top of the National Cathedral Church broke off and fell and shattered into the street as God was shaking up America. Now, this same National Cathedral Church on June 26th decided to take part in the interfaithism, the Chrislam movement, where you try to merge Christianity and Islam into one interfaith belief. It's insane. You can't do it. Are you serious? No, you can't do it. You just can't. How can you? Jesus is the Messiah. Islam says Jesus is a prophet. Islam says Jesus didn't die on the cross, that some other disciple took his place. Islam says he couldn't raise from the dead. Look, you can't mix these two. Impossible. Jehovah is not Allah. Trust me. This same National Cathedral Church participated on June 26th with the interfaithism movement of Chrislam. And for one Sunday morning, shoved the Bibles aside and read from the Quran behind the holy pulpit of the National Cathedral Church in America. This is very symbolic. Maybe that's why the earthquake hit Washington, or part of the reason. Maybe that's why the 3 crosses broke off. The stone, they're made of stone. They broke off and shattered. And now maybe that's why God is angry, because trying to repair the roof of the National Cathedral, trying to prepare for this weekend's ceremonies for 9/11, the crane that lifts up and puts the roofing on top of the church, the crane, get this don't happen, folks, the crane fell over. What? Are you saying a crane? I'm telling you, a crane fell over. I mean, cranes just, and here's the thing, you had that arm, okay? When the arm picks up the heavy stuff, if it's going to fall, I mean, if it overloaded or something, it could tip it or something. But this crane had picked up the roofing, had put it on top the roof of the National Cathedral Church, and had set it there and was moving away like they're made to do, and pitched over. What? What? Are you serious? That crane, here's the thing, authorities are saying, and Stephen of Oklahoma brought this to my attention. I had already done all my YouTube videos yesterday morning. I had already done 3 hours of radio on Liberty Broadcasting Network. I was taking a nap, okay? I was taking a nap, just trying to regroup, trying to get myself together. The man calls me up and says, Paul, did you get a clue? The crane fell over. What? I called my son, my youngest son, Paul. I said, yeah, it happened. And cranes don't fall over. And here's the thing. The authorities are saying there's no reason for the crane to fall. There's no reason for it to fall. The base didn't give. There wasn't a sinkhole opened up. I mean, there was no scientific reason that the crane fell. But let me give you a spiritual reason it fell. The 9/11 ceremonies that's going to take place this weekend, I'm reading right here. Karen sent me this. So did Philip of Alabama. Also Stephen of Oklahoma. Everybody that does research for me, all were jumping all over this one. But did you realize that on this weekend's, they're having all these church services at the National Cathedral Church in Washington, D.C. It's a symbolic church. Presidents have had funerals there. Presidents have went to church services there. Kings of the world have gathered there. And so, naturally, at 9/11, that would be a place to hold some very important, symbolic services. But evangelical pastors have been excommunicated and are not allowed to speak. So much for interfaith. So much for let's all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. So much for joy unspeakable and full of glory. So much for interfaith, because evangelicals have been left off the National Cathedral 9/11 program. I didn't get a phone call. Did Franklin Graham, did you get a phone call? No. Billy Graham? No. Perry Stone? No. Rod Parsley? No. 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 David Jeremiah? No. John Hagee? No. Whether you like any of those guys, it don't matter. What I'm trying to tell you is no evangelicals, none, were chosen to speak at the National Cathedral 9/11 program. Instead, this is reported by Fox News, by the way, instead, the weekend of religious-themed observances at the Washington National Cathedral, marking the 10th anniversary of 9/11, the speakers are going to be a Buddhist nun, an imam of Muslim faith, and many other non-Christian speakers. But there will be no one from the Southern Baptist Convention, nobody from any evangelical churches or ministries. And that's why, folks, maybe that's why God shoved the crane over. Maybe it was God that just pushed it over and said, you know what? You don't want me involved. You don't want to have God at your church. You're leaving me on the outside. Then I don't know if you're going to get your repairs done. I'll just shove the thing over. But nobody else can explain. Guess what? Nobody can explain why why the birds are falling out of the sky in Beebe, Arkansas either. Nobody can explain why 212 cows fell dead in Stockton, Wisconsin. They found one moldy sweet potato 6 weeks later. The autopsies on the cows proved inconclusive. One article was written about me. It said, preacher has moldy potato on his face, like they'd come up with a cause. No, they didn't come up with a cause. And I don't care if you did. God's in control of the science. God's the master scientist. He's the master mathematician. And trust me, he can push a crane over. He can push the Red Sea apart. Trust me, he can shove the crane over in the street. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do another video on this. I'm not done. I'm on a rant right now. And there's no possible way you can do this in 10 minutes. I'll be right back. Are you serious? In Jesus' name, I'll be right back.